to the flag, and pledge allegiance to the flag, and to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gather this evening. We thank you, God, as we gather this evening. We thank you for this wonderful town we live in. We thank you for the privilege that it is to serve the community. And we ask for your strength, courage, and wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Unique situation of a meeting. I'm going to call to order both the Mooresville Town Council meeting and also the Mooresville Metropolitan Police Commission meeting. Gentlemen, have you had a chance? You've had a chance to read our minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either approve or amend the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry.
That was a tie.
Dustin, I really don't know who it is.
I heard Jeff.
Dustin, Jeff.
Aye.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Dustin, Jeff, 5-0. Under unfinished business, there was a contract that was forwarded to us. It is for the professional services to be rendered to the town of for the town of Mooresville in the demolition of 1 and 3 East Main. It looked like it had had someone's fingers on it that worked at a law firm. That's correct.
You would be correct.
There is on the second page, 3-4, shall designate payment services of the town budget appropriation number. I think we had discussed doing an additional appropriation out of our CCD fund. If that is the case, if everyone is in agreement, we will mark that with, what is CCD, 4402? Debbie? 4402. Comfortable with that? Council, comfortable with that?
Yes, sir.
Questions on the contract? Any questions on the contract? For legal counsel.
Oh, sorry. Any subs he uses? Is there anything here about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're covered. Yeah,
I glossed over it, but didn't see it earlier.
all the guarantees that he puts forward apply to the subcontractors.
Could you just talk a little bit about the insurance requirements?
Joel?
Well, the insurance requirements we have on here, we want to verify that it's properly licensed and bonded so that any issues that arise from the demolition, because whenever you talk about that, especially one so adjacent to another property, there could be obviously issues that arise from that. So under that, we would be covered as protection, that they have the insurance to cover any damages caused, any surrounding areas holding the town, so that we aren't responsible.
Comments? Questions? Comments? Questions? I need a motion to approve the contract or not.
Motion to approve the contract with Restoration Impact.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Dustin, Greg, 5-0. The new business. To new business, probably one of the most exciting and important things that we're going to discuss here tonight is what is the route for the Old Settlers Parade? Brock, I'm asking you. Was the council in that with that understanding also?
We changed it back. I was told by the representative that submitted the request prior to the meeting, we were going back to the old route.
Okay, duly noted. That's the most calls I've got this week. In all honesty, probably one of the most important things that this council does is appoints a chief of police. Because we are a member, the town is a metropolitan police commission or police district. We use a police commission. We have a 3-member board that is appointed by this board. They're given a duty and task of hiring and firing of police officers, discipline, and approval of standard operating procedures. In the event that there's a vacancy at the chief of police level, they're given the task of interviewing, background checks, and looking for the best candidate for this position. They bring that recommendation to this council. This council, by statute, either accepts or denies their recommendation. If 3 members of the council approve of it, it is the task of the executive officer to appoint said person to the police chief's job. This evening we are a joint meeting. We have representatives here from the Metropolitan Police Commission. Could you please approach?
All right, thank you. I'll just do a brief statement about the process, and then about our nominee, and then about our nominee, and then good evening, Councilman. I want to just take a couple minutes to report back to you the process and the outcome of the Mooresville Board of Police Commissioners to nominate a new Chief of Police for the Mooresville Police Department. At the beginning of April, we posted the job position to various websites and locations, including the town's website, Facebook page, Police Department Facebook page, the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and Indeed. I had made the request to spend up to $1,500 for the recruitment websites, including Indeed and LinkedIn. In total, we only spent $509.58 of the $1,500. By May 6th, the position close date, we had 32 candidates complete the application process, which means they submitted their completed application. Of the 32, the Police Commission selected 8 applicants for an interview, or actually 9 applicants for the interview. 1 applicant withdrew, so we ended up interviewing 8 applicants in total. We selected a final 4 to go through the next round of background checks and complete the second interview. We were able to work with the Franklin Police Department to do the full background check. They did financials, education, references, everything. They did a really good job, and I really want to thank the Franklin Police Department and Chief Kirby Cochran for his assistance. So that brings us to the evening of last Friday, July 29th, where the Commission unanimously nominated Carrie Buckner as the Chief of Police. As a brief history, Carrie Buckner grew up in the Cambria area and graduated from Decatur High School. For further education, he also graduated from the U.S. Army Military Police School, the U.S. Army Military Police Investigator School, the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and also earned his bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He served in the U.S. Army from 1987 to 2007, where he was honorably discharged and retired. In 1990, he began working with the Marion County Sheriff's Department, where he would hold numerous positions with various units. He transitioned to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department during the merger of Marion County and IMPD. More recently, in 2017, he was promoted to lieutenant and assigned to homicide. And then finally, in 2021, he was promoted to the rank of major and assigned as night watch commander, representing the chief of police for Indianapolis during the evening hours. As night watch commander, he was responsible for the efficient operations of 6 IMPD service districts. So in total, he has over 35 years of law enforcement related experience. And then on a personal note, Carrie's married to wife Kathy, and he has 4 children and 3 grandchildren. And that is it. I'd like to introduce Carrie Buckner.
That is it. I'd like to
I
introduce
guess if you
Carrie
guys have
Buckner.
questions, or however you want to do it.
I guess if you guys have questions for it, however you want to do it.
So your recommendation from the police commission was unanimous for Mr. Buck. Comments or questions?
I have none.
I submitted,
Thank you.
I submitted a couple of questions to you. We met yesterday for probably longer than you wanted. I think we spent, 3 hours?
I got a good meal out of it.
Yeah.
Extremely impressed.
So I was extremely impressed, have a lot of respect for your background, what you've been able to accomplish. Would you mind just talking? He gave a very, very good biography, but would you mind telling us what you think are the highlights of your
I've had a
career?
great career. I think some of the highlights. I've had a great career. I think some of the highlights. And every time that I got transferred, I mentioned this in my interview, is that every time that I got transferred, I got asked to go to a unit. I didn't put in work hard. I've always tried to work hard. I come from. I'm a second generation police officer. My dad worked for Marion County for 58 years. Just retired 2 years ago.
That's how I was raised.
And so
the only job I've ever wanted to do.
that's how I was
in my
raised.
life.
So it's the only job I've ever wanted to do in my life since I could speak. So
I think
I kind of dedicated
I
myself
started the
to
violent
it.
crimes unit back in 2007.
I started the violent crimes unit back in 2007 of IMPD, and they're still up and running. And we apprehended thousands of violent criminals,
homicide
put them in
detectives,
prison
robbery detectives,
and for homicide detectives, robbery detectives.
several homicides,
We
several
assisted
hundred
in
homicides.
the closure of several
I started
homicides,
that
several
unit
hundred
from the ground
homicides.
up with
I started that
no
from the
budget.
ground up with
no cars.
no budget.
And I pretty much had to
No
scrounge,
cars.
but being in the U.S. Army, you
And
learn how to
I pretty much had to
things.
scrounge, but being in the U.S. Army,
so
you learn how to scrounge things.
And when I left
so
that unit, I left it.
And when I left that unit, I left
better than it was
it.
when I started it.
And
So to me, that was one
better
of my
than it
best
was when I started it. So to me, that was one of my best
But I've been in
accomplishments.
several
But I've been in several
and although
successful
Indianapolis has
units,
its issues,
and
it would
although
have
Indianapolis
worse
has its
had it not
issues,
been for some of
it
the
would
places that
have
I've
worse
worked and the
issues
people I've
had
worked
it not
with.
been
I
for
mean,
some of the places that
I
I've
actually
worked and the
retired
people
in
I've worked with.
February.
I actually retired in February.
I'm just going to
So,
use my time and come down here early.
I'm just going to use my
I
time.
have plenty of
and
time.
come down
I've
here
never
early.
used a sick day, so I've got like 500.
I have plenty of time. I've never used a sick day, so I've got like 500 sick days I can use. So I'll be good.
I just want to mention a couple things.
Super Bowl. I just wanted to mention a couple things.
Yeah, I ran
The Super Bowl,
the
you were
bomb
involved
command
with
for
that.
when we had
Yeah, I
Super Bowl
ran
in Indianapolis.
the
So I
bomb
was in
command
charge
for
of
when
a
we had
bunch
Super
of,
Bowl in
bomb squad
Indianapolis.
teams
So
that
I
we
was in
went
charge
around
of
and
a
did
bunch of
sweeps.
bomb squad teams that we
Before
went around
Madonna
and did
goes into place,
sweeps.
she's gotta have it
Of course,
swept.
before Madonna goes into
We had
place,
to do
she's got to
that,
have it
work with the
swept.
Department of Energy, where we swept
We had to
for
do
any kind
that,
of
work with the
nuclear
Department of Energy,
or
where we swept for any
biological,
kind of nuclear
issues.
or
And
biological
also, I didn't get my bachelor's
issues.
degree, so I was
And
over 4
also,
years old,
I didn't get my
was
bachelor's
raising
degree, so I was
a brand new
over 4
child.
years
So,
old, and I was raising
trying to set a good
brand new
example for my
child.
kids.
Trying to set a good example for my kids.
And he
My
starts
son
IMPD's
just got his
Academy
call
in
today,
September, so
and he starts
pretty happy
IMPD's
about that.
Academy in September, so
You were a
pretty happy about that.
sergeant in
That's
the
neat.
military.
Yeah,
You were
amongst
a
other things,
platoon
I-
sergeant
I,
in the military?
Yeah, amongst other things,
But at what age?
So I had a
28?
I was like
platoon that
28 years
basically
old.
was a
Yeah,
bunch
so
of
I had a
people nobody wanted.
platoon that basically was a bunch of people nobody
in
wanted.
charge of it.
So they put me in charge of it.
Yeah.
Any other highlights that you'd like to mention? I mean, your career.
Any other highlights that you'd
Yeah,
like to
I've
mention?
been-
I mean, your career is extensive.
My career has
Yeah,
always been as a
my
working
career
person.
has always been as a working
never
person.
had a-
As a working
I mean,
person.
the closest thing to a
Never
desk
had
job I had was a homicide
I mean, but the
detective.
closest thing to a
Time
desk job I
places.
had was a homicide detective. You didn't spend much time behind your
So,
desk in Indianapolis.
Right.
So
I've always worked hard, and I'll continue to work hard until
I've always worked
decide
hard,
one
and
day
I'll
hang up
continue
my-
to work hard until I
hang up my
decide
gun
one
belt
day to hang up my
and go fishing.
gun belt and
People have asked me about the new chief candidate.
People have asked me about the new chief candidate, and I say things like, I tell them your rank. I tell them how high up you are in Indianapolis. And they say, well, why would he want to come to Mooresville?
and I get that question a lot.
Sure,
I wouldn't mind if you would answer that question and then say,
Although I went to
why you
Decatur,
think an
I
officer might
grew up
want
in
to come here.
Mooresville.
Although I went to
Because when I
Decatur,
grew up in
I
Decatur,
grew up in
there wasn't
Mooresville
anything
because
to do up
when I
there.
grew up in Decatur,
So,
there wasn't anything to do up
I
there.
got my first job down here in the
So,
Plaza, Garantado.
I got my first job
when
down
I was
here
old
in the
enough to
Plaza,
drive.
Garantado,
And
when I was old enough to drive.
stayed down there for several years,
And,
met a lot of good people here in
I
Mooresville.
stayed down there for
became
several
good
years,
type-
met a lot of
close
good
friends
people
with
here
a
in
lot of
Mooresville,
them.
became
And
good
so,
type,
and I have skin
close
in the
friends
game.
with
I
a lot
have
of them.
family here. My
And
sister
so,
lives
and I
here.
have skin in the
My
game. I
uncle
have
are the
family here.
Wrights
My
that
sister
own
lives here.
Optometry
My
place
aunt and
there
uncle are the Wrights
on
that own the
Indiana
optometry
Street.
place
They've
there
been here since the late
on
70s,
Indiana
early
Street.
80s.
They've been here since the
And
late
so,
70s, early 80s.
Growing up in this town, I love this town.
And so,
it's a
growing up in
great-
this town,
it's
I
a
love this
laid-back
town. I mean, it's a
The
great, it's a
public
laid
loves
back
the
town.
police. In
The
general,
public loves
you're
the
always gonna
police.
get a couple people, but,
In general, you know,
and
I think
you're always
so.
going to get a
seems
couple
like they
people,
support
but,
the police department.
and it seems like
they're
they
just down
support
to
the
earth
police
people,
department,
and that's- I'm
and
not really used to
they're just
dealing
down to
with
earth
that now,
people,
and
and that's,
looking forward
I'm
to
not
dealing
really
with
used to
that
dealing with that now,
going
and
forward.
I'm looking forward to dealing with that now, or going forward, so.
I guess lastly, do you have, I gave you one or two more questions.
Yeah,
about,
so,
your top three. Or
you know, I
Yeah,
think I'm
so
kind
priorities
of,
coming in.
not so
You know,
much behind
I
the
think I'm
curve, but
kind
I'm
of,
gonna have to learn how the
not so much
process
behind the
works,
curve,
how things
but I'm
work
gonna have to
in the
learn how
government,
the
and
process
police
works,
department.
how things work in the
And
government,
I want to,
and the police department.
doing a
and
100%
I want
assessment
to,
of the
do a
department,
100%
by
assessment
interviewing
of
each officer
the
to see
department,
where we're at on certain
by
things.
interviewing each
And
officer to
just
see where we're
I
at
mean,
on
you
certain
have great
things.
officers,
And
I
just
want to try to
I mean,
bridge
you have
some
great
gaps that may
officers,
come
and I
about,
want to try
and I don't
to bridge
know.
some gaps that may
Like I
have
told
come
you before,
about,
I don't go
and
off
I don't
rumors.
know, you know,
I go off what
like
I
I told
know.
you before, I don't
And
go
so
off
until I
rumors.
get in there and
I go off what I
investigate and see
know.
what's really going
And
on,
so until I get in there and
I'll know how to
investigate
go
and see what's
forward
really
with
going
that.
on,
I'll
know how to go forward with that,
It's a
but
great town.
Mooresville's a great,
Police
a
department
great
have great
town.
officers.
The police department
they can
have
only
great
get better,
officers,
you know.
and
So
they can only get
I'm gonna
better,
work on,
you know.
kind
So,
of getting them together.
I'm gonna
as a-
work on,
kind of as a family,
kind of
maybe try
getting
to
them
raise
together
morale
as
a little bit.
kind of
If
as a
that's
family,
problem,
maybe try to
I'd like
raise
to
morale a
have to
little bit.
address that
If that's a
once I find out
problem,
what's
I'd
going
like to
on.
have to
And,
address that once I find out what's going on.
Of course, we're gonna work on the
And,
canine program. We're gonna.
Of course, we're gonna work
make
on the
sure we're
canine
good on that
program.
Before we just jump
We're
into it,
gonna
because it's.
make sure we're
canines are
good
one
on
of the
that
highest
before we just
liabilities
jump
as a
into it,
police
because
officer, as a police
canines are one of your
department.
highest
It's gonna cost your
liabilities
town
as a
much
police
money.
officer, as a police
If you accidentally
department.
or
It's gonna cost your town the most
somebody,
money.
that pursuit
If you accidentally
I've
or
already
intentionally
submitted
dogged by
to
somebody,
the
that
board
pursuit, we
a
have already submitted
proposed pursuit
to the
policy,
board
but I
a
just, of course,
proposed
today
pursuit
found out
policy, but I just, of
ILEA
course,
is gonna
today
set the
found out
pursuit
that
policy pretty much for the entire state.
ILEA is going to set the pursuit policy
Now,
pretty
we
much
can
for
be
the
more
entire
restrictive
state
on
on
that
the use of
policy.
force. Now, we can be more restrictive on that
If
policy.
on the pursuit, but not on the use of force. The
If
use
that's
of force
on
policy
the
that
pursuit, but not on the use of force. The
Indiana
use of
Law
force
Enforcement
policy
Board,
that the
presents
Indiana
is what
Law Enforcement
everybody
Board
will which is,
presents
I think,
is what everybody will use,
So,
which is, I think is a good thing.
yeah, I've been trying to get the canine,
so-
get the canine.
Yeah, I've been trying to get the canine,
program
like
back
I
up
said,
and
get the
running. I was
canine
running at one time.
program back
And,
up and running. I was running at one time.
Make sure that,
And,
my number one goal
just
is to make sure my
that
officers go home.
My number one goal
I
is to
mean,
make
you
sure
look
that my
what
officers
happened
go
in
home
Elwood,
every
you never would
night.
have thought that would happen.
I mean, you look what happened in
Elwood,
Elwood,
you're
they
talking
never
about
would have thought that would
comparable
happen.
town. It's maybe
Right,
a little
Elwood,
bit
you're talking
smaller.
about a comparable town,
So,
it's maybe a little bit smaller.
Make sure my officers go home at night, they're trained.
So,
that they
make sure my officers go home at night, they're
to
trained,
be good,
that they are trained
officers
to be
and,
good
courteous to the public.
officers.
I mean,
and,
we all work for the
courteous to
town.
public,
And
and
you guys work for the
I mean,
town.
we all
I
work for the
you,
town.
so,
You guys work for the
we gotta
town,
make
I
sure
work for you,
customers are
so
happy. So that's what we're gonna do.
we gotta make sure our customers are happy. So that's what we're gonna do.
One last question, and then, do you have anything that you would like to say to the public as far as just any kind of thoughts or anything? And also, you might mention you had the idea.
Oh, yeah, well,
about
we already
the
established,
chief
we
email.
established that
Oh, yeah,
already.
well, we
I have
already established.
a generic
we
email.
established that already. I have a
Mooresville,
generic email. It's just chief at
Mooresvillepd.com. And so that way, if the public needs to communicate with me,
And so that way, if the
they can
public
send
needs to communicate with
an
me,
email to that
they can send
address.
an
I'll
email
have
to that
access to it, and my number two
address.
person will have access to it.
I'll
and
have access
probably
to it,
one
and my
other
number two person will have
so
access
we
to
can
it.
address those
Probably one
complaints
other person will have
in a
access to
quick
that, so we can
manner.
address those
also,
complaints
I'm gonna work
in
on
a
the
quick manner.
website so we can get
Also,
feedback
I'm going to work on the
because we are a customer
website so we
service,
can get feedback because we
in
are a
it.
customer service.
And if I don't, I'd rather people
entity.
tell me directly
And if I don't, I'd
what's
rather
wrong,
people
or
tell me
what's going on with
directly
my officers than
what's
to
wrong,
blast us on
or what's
social
going on with my
media
officers,
and leave it to
than
the
to blast
court
us
of
on social
opinion of
media.
whether we were right
And
or
leave
wrong.
it to the court of
If you
public
give it to me, I'm
opinion
gonna
of whether we
investigate
were
it.
right or wrong.
We're gonna be
If you give it to me, I'm
transparent
going to investigate it.
about
and
the outcome.
We're going to be
But,
transparent about the,
you know, give us a
about the
chance.
outcome.
So,
But,
we're gonna try to make
give us a
several
chance.
vehicles
So,
for
we're
people
going to try to
to
make
give us feedback
several
on
vehicles
our
for people to give us feedback on our
operating.
our officers are
Use some
operating.
community
And I want
outreach.
to use some community outreach groups,
faith leaders
reach out to
in town and the small business and large
faith
business
leaders
owners
in
to make sure
town
we're-
and the small business and large business owners to make sure that
That's what it's all
we're doing
about,
what we're
so.
supposed to do. That's what it's all about, so.
Well, I thank you for applying and ignoring some of the things that you've seen in public meetings and online. I think it impressed me very much, though, that you've been watching for a long time and brought the SOPs, revisions, and so forth to the interviews. I mean, you've been paying
Yeah.
attention to the issues in the town
I
for
mean, it's a
quite
great
some
town.
time.
Yeah.
It was really impressive to me when you told me about it.
There's only, we just need to knock
I'm
off.
not so hot about this camera angle, my balls.
I'm not so hot about this camera.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I understand. Thank you very much. That's all I had.
First off, it really saddens me to tears that you have to wear that black band today.
Yeah.
That's been on my mind so heavy lately. That somebody could do that to another person. So I respect totally what you do. Behind our officers 100%. Like what you're talking about as far as transport, being accessible to the public, I like that.
No, thank you.
Other than that, you got a great looking resume.
No, thank you.
Good to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you. Didn't formally meet you, but I made quite a few phone calls to try to figure out who you were. And somebody I respect deeply just sent me a message saying, one thing that they can say about you is you care about the community. So,
Yeah.
can't really knock that at all.
It was mostly positive.
It was mostly positive.
But again,
Every now and then. But again, I don't believe all the rumors.
Right.
You have a stellar career. Hopefully that continues here. You know, everything. I got nothing. I really want to knock, but I can't.
Yeah.
Mostly because he's
I have to work after this, so.
Yeah. I have to work after this, so.
We place our faith in the people that we appoint to our boards. We have a solid and a good Metropolitan Police Commission. I'm sure that they did their job to the best of their ability and probably better than any of us could have. The recommendation today is that you lead this department in the manner that it needs to be led.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate the
I need a
conversation.
motion from the
All right,
council to
thank you.
either accept.
I need a motion from the council to either accept or deny the recommendation from the Mooresville Metropolitan Police Commission.
Motion to accept the recommendation. I'll make the motion to accept the recommendation for the new chief.
Do I have a second?
Been made. Do I have a second?
All in favor?
Made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
At this point in time, that was Shane Gregg, 5-0. The vote was unanimous also at the
Council level?
town council level. And therefore, as the executive officer, I'm offering you the employment role of
I accept that.
Mooresville Metropolitan Police
Appreciate
Chief.
I
Thanks
accept
for the
that.
opportunity.
Appreciate it.
Get that,
Thanks for the opportunity.
we'll get all of the
Okay.
fine print.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very
again.
much.
Appreciate it.
There'll be a swearing in ceremony at some point too. There'll be a swearing in ceremony at some point too, right?
Yes.
Swearing in or swearing out? What did you say?
Swearing in or swearing out? What did you say? That's coming this way.
I understand.
Did you hear the part about a band of misfits?
That sealed the deal right there.
That sealed the deal right
Next item on the
there.
agenda is a rezone at 210.
Next item on the agenda is a rezone at 210 Wheeler Street.
We have anyone here from our...
Do we have anyone here from our planning commission? We do.
Hi there. Can you state your name and...
Hi there.
We're Christian
State your
Jasmine
name
Freeman.
and-
We own Christian Communications.
We're Christian
and,
Jasmine
recently
Freeman.
purchased
We own
210
Christian
Wheeler.
Communications and recently purchased 210 Wheeler Street.
Okay, I apologize. I'm trying to find. But I had it here stapled together.
Okay, it looks like you went before the... planning-
Okay, it looks like you went
sir.
before the planning commission.
Yes, sir.
Your request is to, And I was a little bit confused.
Mark, was that still zoned R1 even though?
Mark, was that still zoned R1 even though it was?
Okay.
Okay.
Zoning is forever.
And the zoning is forever, obviously. Your intentions for the business at this time?
Run our
or for
small
the
communications
property
out of
at this time?
Run our small communications out of it. Small communications
We've been
business.
in Indianapolis for 20,
We've been
about
in
22
Indianapolis
years
for
almost.
20,
We
about
moved to
22
Mooresville.
years almost.
My wife and our son and I,
We
5
moved
years,
to
or
Mooresville.
8 years ago.
My wife and our son and I, 5 years
During that
or
time,
8 years
decided
ago.
we'd rather pay our
And
taxes
during
here
that
where
time,
we
we
live,
decided we'd
rather
rather
than pay them to the
pay our
city of
taxes here
Indianapolis.
where we live, rather than pay them to the city of Indianapolis.
There you go, exactly.
We'll talk about the property.
There you go, exactly.
It's out of our control. Part of the findings of fact, it looks like.
You know, part of the findings of fact, it looks like, they mentioned how you have improved the area, and it does, it looks very nice.
Thank you.
I think maybe that had become a little bit run down in the past. It is near a railroad, so I know that no one's gonna put their dream home there.
Well, whenever we pulled up to it in March, we felt like it was
Well, whenever we
the
pulled
perfect
up to
place
it in
for our
March,
small
we
business.
felt like it was just the perfect place
Regardless
for
of
our
the
small
railroad tracks or
business.
the condition it was in when we
Regardless
purchased
of the
it.
railroad tracks or the condition it was in when we purchased it. We knew we were in for some surprises. Maybe we ran into a few more than we anticipated, but we've tackled those.
Mark, do you remember what the vote was on this?
Mark, do you remember what the vote was on this?
That's just because of your proximity to the property.
And that's just because of your proximity to the property. Are there questions for the petitioners?
This is not a public hearing.
This is not a public hearing. The public hearing is actually the planning commission meeting, but is there anyone in the area that is here to speak either for or against this project?
Actually, I'm not to speak on the project. I want to let you know, many people back there, many people back there don't know where any of the lights are all at.
Really?
The lights are out.
That was a 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna take
So,
Okay.
that was a 4. I'm going to take that as a 4. Questions for the petitioners?
Comments? Comments?
We do IT infrastructure. We install
We do
fiber optic
IT
cable,
infrastructure.
Category 6 data
We
cabling,
install fiber optic
security
cable,
cameras,
category 6 data cabling, security cameras for commercial properties.
Do you have any sales
we don't
on
have
site
any
or anything?
walk-in traffic.
No,
whatsoever.
we don't have any walk-in
We don't
traffic
have anything
whatsoever.
there for anyone to walk in.
We don't have anything there for anyone to walk in and purchase. Our gentlemen, our technicians take everything out to the customer site.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
Oh,
I just wanted to
yes.
clarify that for everybody.
Oh, yes.
And with B2, there's no outside storage or anything like that? Okay. We do acknowledge that the zoning is forever. It does not go with just your business, but it is nice to have the information of what your business currently is, just as a feeler. I need a motion to either accept the recommendation from the planning commission or deny it.
Motion to accept the recommendation from the planning commission.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Please continue to
Thank you very
operate
much.
your business, and thank you for coming to Winston.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Are you doing all right?
I thought you were here because I was in trouble, John. I thought you were here because I was in trouble.
There you go. You brought me all kinds of pictures.
I'm John Larison, Holloway Engineering.
I
have given you several items there.
I have given you several items there. The first
the general
is
area zoning map.
general
That is the mostly yellow.
zoning map. That is the mostly
Copy
yellow.
that you have. I've given
Copy
you
that you
a
have.
copy of the plat,
I've given you a
which
copy
divided
of the plat,
the
which
property
divided
at
the
28
property at
East South Street
28
into 2 properties.
East South Street
And
into 2 properties. And
Also, giving you an aerial photo that shows the
giving you an
current
aerial
layout
photo
and the
that
existing
shows the
home
current
on the
layout
south end.
and the existing home
If you
on
would
the
turn
south
please
end.
to the plat.
If you would turn please
We
to
did
the plat.
attend July Plan Commission
We did
meeting.
attend the
I believe
July
we
Plan
did
Commission
have
meeting. I
a
believe we
unanimous
did
vote.
have
Was
a
for a
unanimous vote.
favorable recommendation
Was
for
for
the
a
rezone
favorable
of lot
recommendation
1
for the
to
rezone
R2
of
and
lot
also
1
for
to
approval of the
R2,
plat.
and also
The
for approval of
Ballards
the
are
plat.
seeking
The
tonight
Ballards are
to rezone
seeking
lot
tonight
1
to rezone
to R2
lot 1
in order to put a two-family dwelling
in order to
on
put a
lot
two-family
number 1.
dwelling.
You can see
on
this property
lot
has
number
frontage on
1.
3
You can
sides.
see this property has
It's bound by
frontage on 3
alleys on
sides.
both the north
It's
and the
bound
west
by
side.
alleys on
And
both
then
the north
frontage
and the
on the
west
south
side,
street as well.
and then frontage on the south
I
street
did
as well.
include
I did
the
include
zoning
the
aerial,
zoning
that is that mostly
Aerial.
yellow
that is that mostly
sheet.
yellow
It actually
sheet.
is
It,
incorrect in a number of
actually is incorrect.
Carlisle
in a
Funeral
number of
Home.
ways.
I made a handwritten
Carlisle
note
Funeral
on
Home,
each
I made a handwritten
identify
note
that
on each
for
of
you.
those to
You'll see
identify that for you.
We are
You'll
just
see
south
that,
of the Carlisle
we are
Funeral
just
Home
south of the
crematorium. I
Carlisle
don't
Funeral
believe
Home
that is zoned
crematorium. I
R1.
don't believe that is zoned
I would expect
R1.
that it
I would expect that it
B2.
would be
Actually,
zoned
probably should be.
B2.
Anyway,
Actually, probably
this property
should be.
is
Anyway,
fully
this
sandwiched in
property
by
is fully
B2
sandwiched in
and
by B2 and
B3 uses.
B3 uses.
On the south, the single-family home has recently been bought by the VFW.
Recently been bought by the VFW. We've got the coke lane, cigarette and tobacco sales, Sal's, and
Great Wall,
the
Chinese restaurant there,
Great Wall,
west of
Chinese
us,
restaurant
as well
there,
as a number of
west
properties
of us,
owned and
as
operated
well as a
by
number of properties owned and
Carlisle
operated by
Funeral Home. So
Carlisle
we're here
Branson
tonight
Funeral Home.
simply
So
to
we're here
rezone
tonight simply to
north lot
rezone
from
the
2-lot minor
north
plat
lot
from
two-lot
R1
minor plat
to R2
from
so that the Ballards may
to
build
R2, so that the Ballards
two-family
may
dwelling
build a
on that lot.
two-family dwelling on
And
that
I'll
lot.
be happy to answer any questions that you might
And
have.
I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
They do.
They own both lots, 1 and 2.
They do.
And the only access to lot 2
Well,
is.
if you had a look,
Well,
Tom,
if you had a look
at the
at
plat,
Tom, at the
lot 2 is actually
at
the
plat,
existing house, and
Lot
that is
2
on
is
South
actually the
Street.
existing house, and that is on
Lot
South
1
Street.
is the proposed
Lot 1
rezone.
is the proposed rezone.
Yeah,
Right,
and
so
yeah,
the only
off of the alley,
access is off
both
of the
north
alley.
and west.
Off of the
yes.
alley, both north and west, yes.
And the two-family dwelling
the,
will face west.
The two-family dwelling will face west.
Hey, John, the line.
Hey, John, the line, plat line there splits the driveway, are they gonna make
Yes,
two
it
different?
is. They're going to,
Yes, it
they're gonna-
is.
it will split the driveway and they're gonna add
It will split the
a
driveway and
little
they're
bit
gonna
each
add
way. And then there'll be
a
additional
little bit
parking
each
for
way.
4 additional
And then there'll be
cars
additional parking
on the
for
north
4
end,
additional cars
between the
on the
alley
north
line
end,
and the setback
between
line.
the alley line and the setback line.
We will need, naturally, a
We will
variance first
need,
because it
naturally,
requires
a
10,000
variance first
square
because
feet to
it
obtain a
requires
building
10,000
permit in
square feet to obtain
Mooresville.
a building permit in
And
Mooresville.
The lot only contains 6,000
The
square
lot
feet.
only contains
So we will need that
6,000
one.
square feet.
We will also
So we will
need
need
a
that
rear
one.
yard
We will
setback
also
requirement.
need a rear yard
variance.
setback requirement,
And that is
variance.
all. We do have ample
And that is
parking,
all. We do
and we
have
can
ample
meet
parking,
3 of
and we
our
can
4
meet
setback requirements.
3 of our 4 setback requirements.
At 6,000 square feet, what are you expecting the entire dwelling
2,400
2 units
square
total to
feet,
be?
12,000 each
2,400
side.
square feet, 12,000.
That is
each
roughly
side.
a 60 by 40.
That is roughly a 60 by 40 structure.
I've noticed this document says 1, 2, and 3. This one.
Yeah, that,
Is that counting the house in the front?
Yeah,
that
Or on
house
South Street, I guess.
on South Street
That
has
house
long been rented
on
out,
South Street has
in
long
portions.
been rented out
going back
in
to
portions,
previous owner,
going back
which was
to
Mr. Bible.
previous owner, which was Mr. Bible.
The current owners have owned it for
The
roughly
current
12
owners have owned it for roughly 12 years now.
No, it
Is this
is not.
zoning both?
It is not affecting.
No, it is
zoning
just
the
for
back section.
It is not affecting the zoning for the existing home.
Okay. But
It
that
is.
1, 2, and 3 is counting the house in the front.
It is.
It's 2 in the back, 1 in the front. Okay.
We're coming more and more often for these. I
Coming
know
more
you've
and more often
noticed that.
for these. I know you've noticed that.
Samuel Moore
Uh,
platted
Samuel
town of
Moore
Mooresville with
platted
200
town of
foot long
Mooresville
lots.
with 200
Had a
foot
home in
long
front,
lots.
they had a garden
Had a home in
in
front.
between,
They
they
had a
had a
garden
carriage house and a
in
stall for
between. They had a
the,
carriage house
for
and
the
a stall for
horses in
the,
back.
for
Had
the
an
for the
outhouse somewhere in
horses in
between.
back, and had an outhouse somewhere in between.
Obviously, a 200 foot long lot, just
Obviously, a
just
200 foot
is
long lot just
outdated.
is
And
outdated.
So you're taking
yes,
one
and in
lot,
many
dividing
cases,
it into 2.
you've got
And
paved
yes, in many
alleys
cases,
and
you've
still
got paved
folks are
alleys and,
looking to take advantage
you know,
of
folks are
the
looking
space.
to take advantage of the space.
It has
The
been.
minor plat had already been done.
It has been.
Okay.
Comments or questions?
Comments or questions?
Again, a public hearing on this.
Again, a public hearing for this rezone would have been at the planning commission meeting. However, is there anyone here to speak either for or against this rezone?
Mark, can you give us an insight on, was it?
Mark, can you give us an insight on, was it a unanimous vote as John said he thought it was?
Motion to either accept or deny the
Motion to either accept or deny the recommendation from the planning commission.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the planning commission.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Greg, Jeff, 5-0.
Thank you.
John, thanks, John. I just want the audience to be aware there's some kind of giant stinging looking bugs flying around, so if that thing drops down, jump. We have an officer that can take that thing out. I don't know what that is. Is that what it is?
From our last meeting, we had the cell phone. We had the cell phone discussion. Diana sent in the packet where she reached out to one of the cell phone providers on what it would be considered like a QPA. And they can make arrangements to be here at our next meeting. Would the council want to wait and delay that and have that conversation with that representative?
From Which company? Verizon or
Multiple road that reached out to her was
I think the one that reached out to her was Verizon.
Is that who we currently use right now?
Is that who we currently use right now?
I think a majority of them do, yes. Okay. You know, the air cards are through Verizon.
Right.
And I'm still, I think that we need to still see how much this would cost.
Yeah, they can be here next meeting then.
Yeah, if they can be here next meeting, then 2 weeks to be fine.
All right? Thank?
Yeah.
Greg?
We get rid of the contract this year.
Do what?
Nothing. Took your hair looks nice.
Thank you. Unkept property. Not really sure what this is. Dave?
Good evening. Part of my responsibilities as a public works superintendent,
as a public works
I get to take the phone calls for rundown, dilapidated properties. I have a couple here. I always try to work it out with the property owners, give them a call. Let them know of the complaints and the problems.
Let them know of the complaints.
Most of the time, that works out pretty good. Once in a while, we'll have, someone that just will not cooperate.
Someone that just will not cooperate.
And there's two in particular that we receive the most complaints on.
The most complaints on.
These handouts that I'm handing you are the two that get the most complaints. So I guess I'm here tonight to let you know that we do receive a lot of complaints on these two.
We do receive a lot of complaints on these two.
I'd kind of like to ramp up the pressure on these two. Which means
property
I think the next step is going to court with them. We've worked with Beth Copeland. She's done everything. I think legal can do short of going to court. She's sent them letters.
She's sent them letters.
The problem is these two properties could get to be very expensive. And we learned that with the downtown building.
The downtown building that we have now.
Right.
They've only seen one property in my packet. Here's the second. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you give one to both of these to the attorney? Did he get a copy? Okay.
So I guess I'm up here tonight just as an informational. If the council wants to give me some direction on this. To take it.
I'd be more than willing to take it.
Yeah, just informational that. We will be putting a little more pressure on these two property owners to
try to get things cleaned up.
I get complaints on these properties all the time.
How long, do you know, have any idea how long we've been?
How long, do you know, have any idea how long we've been sending letters to these
I
folks?
think one started probably 20 years ago, maybe. The other one.
20 years ago, maybe. The other one.
Since I've been in office, I've had complaints on both.
Since I've been in office, I've had complaints on both of them. And that's since 2012.
What was our most recent contact with the property owners?
What was our most recent contact with the property owners?
One.
And what was their reaction?
I know Ms. Copeland sent a letter.
I know
The
Ms.
gentleman
Copeland
called
sent
and stated
a
that
letter.
he
The
was
gentleman
trying
called
to
and
clean
stated
up.
that he was trying to clean
He's
up.
an older gentleman.
He's an older gentleman.
My reaction to his phone call was, as long as we
My
continue
reaction
to
to
see
his phone call
improvement,
was,
we'll
as
let
long
him
as we
continue
continue
to
to see
do so,
improvement, we'll let him continue to do
but
so.
happened
But
for a week or two.
that happened for a week or two, and then everything. When was that?
No, I think it was probably toward the end of last year.
I think it was probably toward the end of last year.
So you're seeking permission to move forward? So you're seeking permission to move forward with legal counsel, is that correct, Jewel? Would that be a motion to?
Yeah, it would be to turn this over to legal to take whatever steps available, both under the ordinances and the law, to enforce.
Just to enforce it.
Oh, sorry.
Just to enforce the upkeep of the property.
It'd be similar to what we did with the downtown building.
Correct.
A similar process, the tornado building.
Yep.
Dave, if it's been a year,
if it's been a year and they're not cooperating, do you feel reaching back out more recent like now would be effective or no? Or do you feel the legal is the only way to go at this point?
I would like to reach back out to them one more time.
I would like to reach back out to them one more time. Inform them that this is our next step. If we don't see some sort of movement
Immediately, then
immediately,
we'll be in touch.
then legal will be in touch.
And you can report back next meeting.
I sure can, yeah.
And you can report back next meeting.
I sure can, yeah.
For me, I think 20 years is enough notice. I mean, it's been, both of these properties are egregious.
I agree with that. I mean, if it's been a 20-year problem.
I agree with that. I mean, if it's been a 20-year problem, there's no question it's not good. But if it's been a year since we've had contact, I'd hate to just spring legal on them right away. You know, I would at least like, you know, I mean, obviously they're going to watch the meetings. There's going to be minutes to the meetings. Obviously, it's topic of conversation tonight. So make sure they're aware of that and give them time to start working on it, you know.
Do a time frame on how this
works. You know, my big concern is I don't want to be paying for everyone cleaning up everyone's mess. We need to put the teeth in it to where they clean up their own.
So generally speaking, when you bring something under the unsafe building codes or the unkept property code, so it's just a nuisance type violation on those.
Once you file in court,
Let's start from that point. They will have a time frame in which they can answer. You're probably looking at least a 30-day period before you get into court, and then if there's a hearing, depends upon how long it takes for the judge to issue the order. But the last time we had it was relatively quick after the hearing that we got the order back on. And so once you get the order, then you have something that is able to be enforced against them to take action, or else then the town takes action, and then we can put a lien on the property, things of that nature, to try and collect fees back. But the collection part is a lot more difficult. So from the time that we are saying go, we're probably looking at a safe guesstimate of about 60 days to get things through. And within that time period, we should get the order of enforcement.
So if we move forward with legal tonight, that would give them notice anyway. If we don't, we're giving them notice of a notice, which they've already had many notices.
Correct. And one option that is available is that you can take action to approve legal moving forward. However, prior to that, Dave reach out one more time and then report back.
And I would be fine with that, so we don't delay legal.
And I would be fine with that. I mean, so we don't delay legal. I mean, we're still doing both. In essence.
Yeah, I just think the town's talked about this. It's been bad. At least one of these have been bad. I can't remember when it wasn't. And I'm 45 years, almost 45. So I've been here about 2.5 years. I've been hearing about it nonstop. I don't want to spend the money either. It's, to me, I don't want to spend the money either, but the town's had almost 200 years to strengthen the ordinance, and prior councils didn't. Prior councils didn't take care of this problem. And prior councils didn't take care of this problem. It's got a lot of problems.
Need a motion and how you want to work it.
Need a motion and how you want to work it.
So, do you want to make a motion? I'll ask Jewel. I'll ask Jewel to make sure I get it right. So, I'd make a motion to move forward with legal counsel on both of these properties. Do you want me to state the addresses?
You don't have to, I mean, we've got them.
Okay. And then with a, how much time do you think he needs to contact them one more time? But I don't want it to be delayed, but it'd give him a chance. 30 days.
That's up to you. I mean, yeah, that's up to you. I mean, it could.
I'll start tomorrow.
If you want to make it that, I'll start tomorrow.
Not 30 or.
Give me a week. I'll make contact with him.
Give me a week. I'll make contact within a week.
I'll say about next meeting.
Okay.
30 days to start.
I can come back at the next meeting and let you know their response.
I can come back at the next meeting and let you know their response.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to move forward with legal pending Dave's response at the next meeting. Does that cover you, Jewel?
Yep.
For both properties.
If this sounds right to you.
Move forward with legal pending response.
Move forward with legal pending response to Dave to be reported at our next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that is a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And that is a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Dave, stay up here for just a second.
Dave, stay up here for just a second. The ADA transition.
So in front of you, you have an updated transition plan. It is not 100% completed yet. We're still working with Dave to get it to that 100%, but we want to show you the progress to kind of look through. The hope is that we'll be able to get it within the next meeting or two to 100% finalized and then take action then.
This is going to help us with pursuing the grants.
This is going to help us with pursuing the grants that we've got.
Correct.
I did receive communications with a citizen here in Mooresville who had recognized that not too long ago we had replaced a sidewalk in front of their property. And it is part of the last community crossing matching grant plan
So that sidewalk
project.
was being tore up.
So that sidewalk was being tore up, and rightfully so. There were some questions on why we were spending that kind of money on that kind of project, duplicating the project. And speaking to Dave, taking some measurements, that particular sidewalk was built prior to any ADA compliancy. It was a narrow sidewalk, and to bring it up to ADA specifications, we had to tear it out and add width to it. We communicated that back with the citizen. It was good to know exactly why we were doing that, because I was kind of on board with why are we tearing up a new sidewalk. Maybe a little kinder, I don't know. But we did, that entire street will be ADA compliant when we're done, so we'll move it from the no to the yes in that plan on projects that we're doing. And again, that was done with the Community Crossings Matching Grant at 75-25. So I commend you for doing this. I know that it's, sometimes we get questioned on it, and it is the right thing to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is interim chief salary discussion.
Yes, I asked for this to be put on the agenda tonight. Yes, I asked for this to be put on the agenda tonight. It was brought to my attention. I did not realize it. Understand at the time the interim chief, Brock Chipman, was not being paid chief pay. He was still receiving his patrolman pay, doing the chief's job. We have a salary ordinance with the chief's pay in there. And I just feel that he needs to be made the difference with that for his pay. I mean, it's actually costing him money to step up for our town in a time of need. And I don't think that's right. He lost his shift differential pay from middle shift to day shift, and as well as part-time work. He's made some sacrifices for our town to step up in a time of need, and I just feel he should be compensated for that.
I know that we haven't done that in the past.
I know that we haven't done that in the past, and it brought that in there, but we have to put something in the salary ordinance to do that.
I don't think you need anything in the salary ordinance itself. You have a line item that is for the chief salary position, and so as long as you do not exceed that, you'll be fine. So it may be some accounting that would have to be done in the clerk treasurer's office to show that and where the funding is coming from, and that it's not just an additional pay on top of the patrolman's, but for the interim position. So I don't think you need to change anything in the salary ordinance itself. But Councilman Cook had reached out to me, and I told him, I didn't know that it wasn't being done that way, but then I also didn't know that the town of Mooresville hadn't done that in the past as well. So it really is a discussion for the council to make those determinations.
I'd also like something written up from this point going forward also to cover this, so it's not a problem in the future if it was to happen again. I feel if they're doing the role and the duties of that position, they should be getting paid for it.
Well, I think we overlooked that with our interim chief of our fire department and the two past interim chiefs of the police department.
And I'm not saying that's right, but this board here has an opportunity to make it right, is what I'm saying. And I've been part of those previous boards, Tommy. I'm not dogging it, or anybody else. But I'm just saying that it's only right and it's only fair. That's how I feel.
Like I said, I just know that we hadn't done it in the past. I hadn't even been part of a discussion in the past. Shane, comments?
I totally agree. I think I don't like the idea of asking people. To ask people to do a job they're not compensated for. I think that's kind of ethically wrong. And I agree with the concept that we're here now. We can do the right thing and make it retro or make it going forward for fire, police. I don't know if we would need to write a policy or not, but it seems to me if a person steps up like Brock Chipman did, and he did so in the face of withering criticism that I thought was completely unfair. And I think he did a good job. I really do. And I also think some others could learn from your professionalism that you've shown, even though you weren't promoted to chief. You've held yourself very professional. And I think that should be commended by us and the taxpayer.
Greg, comments?
I think they ought to be compensated for the job they're doing, the position they're in. No, I'm in support of this moving forward. I'm just a little leery on, will others from the past come knocking? So, legal, can they come back and say?
Nothing prevents them from. Nothing prevents them from saying that. When you talk about a legal analysis of it, though, there is nothing in place that says they get paid this for that. You don't have a policy in there. And so I don't know that there would be a situation in which a claim can be made for a wage an hour claim, if that's what you're asking. But nothing prevents somebody from.
Until our new chief is sworn in, our interim chief is currently acting. So if we were to do this, he would be included into this?
Correct.
Okay.
So the question is,
So the question is, Jeff, and you kind of went back and forth. Are we going retroactive 30 years? Are we going retroactive to April? Are we going to start it today, moving forward, including the pay that he's receiving today? Do we want to restore the shift differential for the time that he has served? How do you want to proceed?
I would say effective back, this paperwork says April. I mean, he's the current interim chief. I'd say we started with this interim chief.
Hard to go back
I think it would be hard to go back
from previous interim chiefs.
chiefs.
In a role that they've served.
Or any person in a role that they've served.
Current situation.
You know, this is a current situation right now.
Correct the problem.
You know, and I think we can correct the problem tonight.
We've had it, just to be clear, we've had it with the fire chief, we've had it with the park superintendent, we've had it with past police chiefs. But you want to do it with just what we have now, what we're experiencing today.
Today moving forward, yes.
Today moving forward.
Sure.
And do you want the pay to be retroactive back to April?
Yes.
In the form of
Is that the form of a motion?
In the form of a motion.
Okay. Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
My phone's blowing up.
I'll vote aye.
I'll vote aye in good faith, but know that I'll be blasted here 0.5 seconds.
blasted with open record.
I'm going to vote
Blasted with open records request is what you're going to be blasted with.
On this here,
On this here, I strongly believe if we want to go moving forward, I don't believe in the retroactive portion of it. I support all of them, and I do think that today's motion does give us moving forward.
That is correct, yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Motion been made and seconded. Jeff, Shane, 4-1.
Department head reports.
Department head reports.
Good evening. I just have a brief report.
Good evening. I just have a brief report. As of 30 minutes ago, the pool is closed for the season.
With school going back, however, our splash pad will be open for the public
daily through Labor Day, so they can still cool off.
We've done that for the last 10 years. I know it's a hot topic.
We've done that for the last 10 years. I know it's a hot topic, but so the aquatic center is closed as of today.
Office renovation, our windows were installed.
Office renovation, our windows were installed. We're much closer to having that project complete. There are a few other items now that that portion of summer is done.
With that being said, the park board has determined
that their meetings will move back to the park office starting this coming Monday.
Facebook and on our agenda, everything like that.
Be on our Facebook and on our agenda, everything like that. So they did vote to move back to the park office for our
I know I was in contact with most of you about the street fairs. Just wanted to give you a quick update. I had emailed Kim, who was the contact that we had for everything. Reminded her if they wanted to use Bicentennial Park for anything, or get permission to use, or have alcohol in the park. We would need a request 8 weeks in advance, July 22nd. I still have not received anything, any response. So what we're going with, they will not be permitted to use Bicentennial Park, nor have alcohol in the park.
in the
We have a
park.
park board meeting on Monday, so if any of that changes,
We have a park board meeting on Monday, so if any of that changes, I
certificate
will
of
let you
insurance is also
know.
expired.
Their certificate of insurance is also expired.
That was the other thing that we needed
So,
on the agenda. So,
that was the
from
other
them.
thing that we needed on the agenda, so, from them.
What do we do on the?
Well, they need to get you an updated one. We require that, I don't know.
Yeah.
We require that. I don't
In order to have
And
the
that's
event,
the
they'll
town's
have to
event.
have insurance.
We
on it.
require it
that's
for
the
any
town's
of ours, but I assume.
We require it for any of ours,
that
but,
the town asks for it having an event.
but the town
downtown
asks
as well.
for it having an
But
event.
it just expired.
downtown
Normally
as
they
well. But it just
send a new
expired.
one as soon
Normally
as
they
it expires.
send a new
for
one
the
as soon
next
as
year,
it
but I don't know
expires,
the status of that.
for the next year, but I don't know the status of that.
September
When is it?
12th,
September
maybe? There's
12th.
still some time.
There's still some time.
Farmhouse Market,
Who's the holder of the
Kim.
insurance?
Farmhouse Market, Kim.
Oh, they're no longer in business.
So I was told she would still be the contact. There's been
I
back
was
and
told
forth
she would
of
still be the
different
contact. There's been
contacts,
back and
so
forth of different
That's who had the certificate of
contacts,
insurance,
so
so that was our contact.
that's who
She
had the
filled out
certificate of
special event
insurance,
form
so
for
that
the
was our
park
contact.
initially.
She filled out the special
So-
event form for the park initially, so that's who we went with.
Could you explain the pool closing? Could you explain the pool closing? It's because of
Actually,
the
this
health,
is
correct?
over 10 years we've been closed. It's not
Actually, this
just for
is
help.
over 10 years we've been
We had
closed.
a
It's
program
not just for help.
after people
We
started
had a program, after people started
commenting on our Facebook posts that
commenting on
reminders
our
is the
Facebook
reason,
posts that
that we're
reminders
closed.
is the reason that we're
2012 was
closed.
the last time that we were
2012
open through
was the
Labor
last
Day.
time that we were
took
open through
about
Labor Day.
3 years
We
of
took
attendance
about 3
records.
years of
And
attendance
when we were
records.
open on weekends,
And when we were open on
averaged for the
weekends,
weekend less than 300 people
averaged
coming
for
to
the
the pool.
weekend less than 300
And we
people
usually
coming to the
rained
pool.
out at least one
And we usually
weekend,
rained out at
made
least
people come back.
one weekend, made
It's
people
more
come back.
expensive to not have people in the pool.
It's more
so
expensive
you put
to
more
not
chemicals
have
in.
people in the pool,
So
to
the
you put more
program committee
chemicals
back in
in.
2012
So the program committee back in
recommended that starting in 2013,
2012
which is also when
recommended that starting
the
in
school calendar
2013,
changed,
which is also
to
when
go a couple
the
weeks
school
earlier,
calendar changed,
that we
to
would
go a couple
close
weeks
and then
earlier,
open the splash
that we
pad.
would close and then
But
open the splash
This year
pad.
especially, yes,
But
help is a major.
This year
I'd say
especially, yes, help is a major. I'd say
7% of our workforce.
7% of our workforce
Athletes
are high school
in choir
students
or
that are
whatnot.
athletes in choir or
There's a few reasons.
whatnot. So there's a few reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Find out who's running.
Hey, do you still have a good working relationship with that Kim?
I'm sorry.
Still have a good work? You want to reach out to her and get a certificate of insurance?
Yeah, I can try to do that.
Sorry I was late coming in. Normally I usually.
Sorry, I
have
was
this on the
late
desk.
coming in. Normally I usually
For
have
the
this on your
runs,
desk.
we've actually increased a lot
For
of
the runs,
run
we've
stats
actually
for
increased a
this
lot
last
of
month, which
run
was
stats
kind of
for this
shock to
last
me.
month,
I had to
which
actually
was
go back
kind
and
of
redo it.
Shock to me. I had to actually go back and redo it
Make sure I
and
typed in
recalculate
the
all
right
the
dates
runs
and
and look
stuff.
at them, make sure I
We went from,
typed in the right dates and stuff.
I don't even have it
We
from
went
last
from, I
but
don't
it was
even have it
about
from last month.
almost
But
58.
it was about almost 58
last month. They went up to
runs
206.
extra for
I think
last month. They went up to
about
206. I think basketball was
But
about
anyway,
160.
EMS we had
But
121,
anyway,
or 120 runs.
EMS we had 120 runs. Fire, we had 11 fires, 75 of their calls. We did 19 inspections. For
The other thing, I know I wasn't here for the last meeting.
The other thing, I know I wasn't here for the last meeting. I apologize for that.
Shane,
I know
sorry,
I had
pointed in the wrong direction.
Shane, sorry, pointed in the
Basically
wrong
talked
direction.
about doing my
Basically
hire
talked
for
about
my
doing
retiree.
my hire
Tonight I
for
invited
my retiree.
new hire.
Tonight I
if he would
invited
stand
my
up. Quentin
new hire,
Humbarger,
if
he's
he would
coming
stand
from
up.
us from another
Quentin
lateral
Humbarger,
transfer.
he's coming
He
from us from
has
another
4
lateral
years with
transfer.
another full-time
He
department.
has 4 years with another
We're excited to
full-time
have him
department.
starting here the next couple weeks.
We're excited to have him starting here in the next couple weeks.
Other than that, I have nothing further unless you have any questions.
Other than that, I have nothing further unless you have any questions.
Chief, just real quick. Thank you for. Hey, Chief, just real quick. Thank you for. I caught the chief with in the downtown with Dave Moore talking to the businesses about the. It's coming up soon. The tornado building's coming down, and I know that you and Dave, wherever Dave is, Oh, he's way back in the back. I appreciate you going door to door and talking to the businesses.
We're working with the businesses. We're working with the businesses. Earlier, I don't know if it was on the agenda earlier. I don't know if it got talked about. I know I had to call Dave because we had a gas line to cut. Needed to get some other street information for the gas company. But anyway, street information for the gas company. But anyway, yeah, that's what it's all about. We're working with the businesses to try to keep them open as much as possible. And I think Dave and I came up yesterday to plan on yesterday to kind of shut things down and keep things open and for the safety of everybody.
Good, thank you.
Thanks.
Just have a couple of things real quick. The Community Crossings project is in its final stage. I think they have to pave Arlington.
In its final stage, I think they have to pave Arlington, a couple more driveway
Ongoing
aprons.
efforts to kind
And
of spruce
our
up this
ongoing
building.
efforts to
We were
kind of
notified
spruce up
last
this
week
building.
that
We were notified
gentleman by
last
the name
week
of Wendell
that
Thaler
a gentleman by the name of
gave us
Wendell
the rest
Thaler
of the stained glass windows.
gave us the rest of the
They're
stained
not in real
glass
good shape. We're
windows.
trying to find someone to
They're
fix
not in
them
real
up.
good shape. We're trying to
I
find
think there's a
someone
little
to
bit of a
fix them up.
backstory.
I think there's a little bit of a backstory.
We do have
Tom
those
may
in our
know it a little
possession now,
better,
so we're
but,
gonna try to get those
we do have
repaired.
those in our possession now, so we're going to try to get those repaired and
That's all I have.
possibly installed. That's all I have.
Pretty sure.
For
yeah.
these here,
Yeah, we
pretty
have
sure,
6
yeah.
of them, 5 or 6.
We have 6 of them, 5 or
They're-
6.
wow.
They're partial. They're like the double hung windows. We
They're
have
partial,
6
they're
of
like the
them.
double hung windows. We have
Halves.
6 of the
We'll see how that works out.
halves. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, that's neat.
Thank you.
Guys, I don't have much. I don't have really anything about the police
Guys, I don't
department.
have
Just want
much.
to thank everybody
I don't have really
for
anything about the
working
police
with me.
department. Just want to thank
and,
everybody for
helping me through this.
working
It
with
was-
me. And
It was a
helped me
fun
through
learning
this.
experience, stressful at times.
It was a fun
but we all
learning
did it. So
experience,
thanks for your
stressful
support.
at times.
I
but we
appreciate
all
what you guys did. It
Thanks
was
for your
not
support.
expected.
I appreciate what you guys did.
but
It was
I
not
appreciate it.
expected.
I thank you.
But I appreciate
understand
it.
the
I
concerns.
thank you.
I totally get.
I understand
Thank you,
the
nonetheless. and,
concerns. I totally get.
Thanks for everything.
But thank
Appreciate
you,
guys.
nonetheless. And thanks
Excited
again.
for the future.
Appreciate it, guys. That's all.
Oh, it's not.
Excited for the future.
Excited for the future. Thank
Oh,
you.
it's not. It's not. But excited for the future. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so the next two are,
Yeah, so the next two are tied together. It's the Inliner Solutions contract for the sewer lining project and the additional appropriation ordinance for the project. We're still working with Dave to finalize that contract. We're going to get some information. The packets, I think, are in the clerk treasurer's office, so we just need to grab some information from that to finalize that. So we'll have that for you at the next meeting. With the additional appropriation, this one is totally on me. I did not notice when the agenda came out that it wasn't advertised for a public hearing on the additional appropriation. But we advertised it properly, but on the agenda itself, it does not have a public hearing. And I should have caught that, so that's on me. So it's advertised for a public hearing today on that, but the agenda does not have that listed as such. So there are 2 options that we can move forward with that. We can advertise for the next meeting on it, and that is my recommendation because we don't have it listed on the agenda. And then handle both the contract and the additional appropriation at that time.
And can we get that in the 14 days? It has to be 10 days.
10 days.
Can legal counsel get that to us?
Yep. We can have it to the clerk treasurer's office tomorrow.
Is that acceptable? That is where I think part of the motion to accept it was also to additional appropriate $370,000 into the to pay for that and possibly some manholes. Is that acceptable with the council?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Public comment.
Anything else? Public comments.
No one signed up down here. I have no one signed up down here.
Okay. Motion for approval of payment of claims?
Make a motion, we approve claims in the amount of $663,883.91.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Motion been made, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Dustin Gregg, 5-0.
Comments from the council?
Normally I sit up here and have no comment, but tonight I do. Normally I sit up here and have no comment, but tonight I do. I want to thank our police commissioners for all their hard work and dedication throughout this lengthy process finding us a police chief. I think you guys did an outstanding job, and the citizens are going to find out just how good of a person, first and foremost, and an officer that Major Buckner is. So thank you very much for that. I normally don't talk about my employment up here, but obviously I work with Kerry. Hate to see him go, and the citizens of Mooresville are going to be very happy with him.
Major Buckner, welcome.
So, Major Buckner, welcome.
Brock Shipman, you stepped up in a time of need.
Brock Shipman, you stepped up in a time of need. We fought for you up here tonight because you fought for us, and I appreciate that. When you tapped the quarterback, the Mooresville Police Department, you did an outstanding job, and did not go unnoticed. So thank you for that. That's all I have for now.
Just a ditto on the police commission. Just a ditto on the police commission. I think you guys did a wonderful job getting a lot of applicants, really. I felt for a very reasonable price, considering how much the last process spent. You did it for less than 1/10 of the price, and we got a lot of applicants. So I thank all of you. I think Fred left, didn't he? Okay. I was going to thank him. Thank the major for applying. I do want to say one thing about the applicants. I want to thank all the applicants who applied. And I think there were several very qualified applicants. And I want to thank them for applying for our town. And I don't think they should be left without a compliment or a thank you. So I thank all of you.
I appreciate the work the police commission did. I'd rather buy a used car than do what they did. And everybody, if you see what I drive, you know how much I hate buying cars. I thought they did a great job and spent a lot of time on it, researched it, and I think moving forward, I think everything's going to be okay.
Major Buckner, welcome to...
Major Buckner, welcome to the family of Mooresville employees. We are quite the dysfunctional, albeit loving. We usually have each other's backs, so if there's anything that you need, please reach out to the 5 of us or your conference.
Also, school starting.
Also, school starting, so let's keep our young ones in our thoughts and prayers as they start the school year. And that's pretty much it. One more thing. You were probably going to mention it, but I read the card that Rachel Gray's family sent to us. I thought that was very nice. Fit to the town.
We received a thank you from the Rachel Gray family, thanking the entire council, thanking the town of Mooresville for recognizing her value and her worth in this town at 100 years old. I hope we can send her one in another 10 years or at least another year. Again, maybe that's one of the things this council can be proud of, is that we recognize when we need to thank people. Brock, thank you very much. My vote this evening was about policy and not about you. I appreciate you stepping up to the plate and taking care of it. New chief, you're not a major anymore, you're a chief. I appreciate your willingness to help us to make this town just a little better if we can. All of our departments have their internal battles maybe, but all of our departments are still the best departments in central Indiana, and I appreciate that. Going from there, our next meeting will be
August 16th.
You guys want to have it August 16th?
Right here.
Okay, August 16th. right here at 6:30. First I need a motion from the Metropolitan Police Commission to adjourn their meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. The motion was to adjourn, Mr. Chris, and second by Earl. Now I need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made, do I have a second? Motion has been made, do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Dustin and Greg, 5-0.